Everyone please stand up for Aarti. Jai Shri Radha Neela Madhav Bhagwan Ki Jai. Ki Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Shobham.
Ki Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Shobham.
Ki Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Shobham. Janavi Tatavane Jagamanaloba. Janavi Tatavane Jagamanaloba. Kibadaki Nenitai Chan Bame Gadadara.
Kibadaki Nenitai Chan Bame Gadadara.
Kibadaki Nenitai Chan Bame Gadadara. Nikate Advaita Shini Vasa Chatradara. Nikate Advaita Shini Vasa Chatradara. Kibaboshi Ache Gaura Chan Ratna Simasane. Kibaboshi Ache Gaura Chan Ratna Simasane. Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagane. Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagane. Kibanara Hari Adi Kori Shamaradula. Sanjaya Mukunda Bosho Gosho Adigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Bosho Gosho Adigaya Kiva Shankar Baje Ganta Baje Baje Kartala Kiva Shankar Baje Ganta Baje Baje Kartala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramasala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramasala Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Mother 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 Baje Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Mother 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 Baje Gaurangera Ratika Shobha Jaga Janamana Loba Gaurangera Ratika Shobha Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Gaurangera Ratika Shobha Jaga Janamana Loba Gaurangera Ratika Shobha Jaga Janamana Loba Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Kiba Bahu Koti Chandrajini Badana Ujjwala Shiva Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujjwala Galadeshe Banamala Kore Janamala Galadeshe Banamala Kore Janamala Shiva Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gadaga
Shiva Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gadaga
Shiva Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gadagara
Shiva Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gadagara
Bhakti Vinoda Deke Gaura Rasampada Bhakti Vinoda Deke Gaura Rasampada Shiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Kashobha
Shiva Jayo Jayo Gaura
Janavi Tatavane Jagamanaloba Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtadadeshatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtadadishatarine.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtadadishatarine.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadada Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadada Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Jaya Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Radha. Jaya Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Radha. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Bhakti Charu Swami, Untitled Chapter, ISKCON Foundation for Prabhupada, Shivasa Vigordhan, Dandan, Matadam, Ingamai, Namai, Tuts Devi, Bhakti Devi, Sankirtan Yadnik, Radharangaki, Lord Arati, Gopen, all glories to Simba, all glories to Simba, all glories to Shishi Guru and Prabhu.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlad Dahine, Hiranyakashipu Rakshaha, Shilatankan Kalaye, Ito Narsima Parato Narsima, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsima, Bahi Narsima Hridaye Narsima, Narasim Namadim Sharanam Prapadev, Tava Kara Kamalavare Nakam, Adbhuta Shingaram, Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam, Keshavadrita Narahari Rupam, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Narsimhadev, Jaya Narsimhadev, Jaya Narsimhadev, Jaya Narsimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Narasimhadev Bhagwan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Go Premanande. No, like this, all the way from the bottom, Tulsi. Thank you. Yeah, I have to sing for mine. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Haribol.
That's such a bad idea. Why are you making me do it? Help me.
Okay, no, drop it. Just drop it. Those
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yenam Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namane. Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swaminiti Namane. Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Dear Bhakti Charu Maharaj, I would like to make my offering in full gratitude of how you have dedicated your life in the service of Srila Prabhupada, not just in his Vani but in Vapu also. Your personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada is a great inspiration for us to relish how wonderful it is to be with Srila Prabhupada, and very little association that we got from you is our hope that we are connected to Srila Prabhupada. The way you wanted to execute the projects, translate Srila Prabhupada's books in Bengali, it's like bringing the Bengal's mercy back to Bengalis is absolutely required right in that region. And thank you for translating all the books. Also the TV serial that you have created, the Abhay Charan, which creates a mainstream awareness in India, because India broadly lacks understanding of the Gaudiya Sampradaya and the value and the contribution of Srila Prabhupada. But because of your efforts, there is a beautiful serial that masses can see, which is a mass communication, mass training, mass preaching effort, which is an amazing project. You are one of the rarest preachers of ISKCON who are recognized by United Nations. Your presence has been very divine. How you have helped so many congregations recover out of internal conflicts is also amazing, by keeping Srila Prabhupada and Lord Sri Krishna in the center of everything. So I just beg for your prayers, I beg for your mercy, and I ask for forgiveness that I may have committed any offenses. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Dandavad.
Thank you, Prabhu. Is there anybody else who would like to make the offering? Radhanand Prabhu. Nitin Jona.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to give my offering and take a few minutes to talk about the glories of Bhakti Charu Swami and just share a few words of wisdom I may have had and that I've learned along the ways with Maharaj. So I think one big takeaway I had from the time I was able to spend with Maharaj was that he's very practical and realistic about all the teachings he has. So for example, you may see a lot of Maharajas, they talk like a lot of deep philosophy, and for someone who was younger, when I first met him and like connected with him, it might have been a little harder for me to understand something like that. But since I was able to spend time with him and really understand what he had to say, it came down to him talking more of like a deeper science, and like him actually having very practical examples on how like anyone could apply Krishna consciousness into their life, which it's a lot more inspiring than it may seem. And like when you hear his lectures, you can really see that he connects with each person in the audience, and a lot of people can learn very crucial things in his lectures. I had some deeper questions about like the purpose of demigods and why we have certain things the way they've been set up, and each concept he's able to break down clearly, and you can really understand like what he's saying, and it helps your faith and your motivation to like actually strive in Krishna consciousness well. And that was something I thought was really important to me. And another really motivating factor is he's able to engage everyone in his service and in the service of Krishna. Like when my parents had first gotten initiated and all of that, they were very inspired and motivated to like strive in whatever projects Maharaj had. They were really motivated to take forward and do these kinds of things. And I just want to thank Maharaj for all of that, and it means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you for your sharing your inspiring realizations. Prabhu, you want?
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurumlitamina Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Today is very auspicious day, and I'm very fortunate to be here on auspicious occasion. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj Swami. Bhakti Charu Maharaj Swami Maharaj ki jai. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki. जोर से बोलो तो loudly, so Maharaj can hear. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj Swami Maharaj ki. Little bit better. Okay, so Maharaj is his journey is went very fast. Maharaj went to Germany for study, and he talked to his some friends there. And they talk about the religions, and Maharaj just little embarrassed, could not answer. Then he called his cousin, sent some books, and then he sent it some books there, and he read it. And I'm not sure that he after the finish his study or before, he just back to India and landed Delhi, and from Delhi straight he went to Haridwar, and from Haridwar he went to some places in Haridwar, and then he went to, I believe, Badrinath. Then from there, he back to Calcutta. And from Calcutta, somehow he went to Mayapur. And then Mayapur, he stay in the temple. Brahmachari asked him to, you can stay here. And then he stay a few days there. And Maharaj's journey was very, very fast going on. Then he stayed there, and Prabhupada came there and talked to Prabhupada. Then he went to Prayag in a Kumbh Mela. When Maharaj went to Kumbh Mela, then Prabhupada asked him to, Prabhupada asked him to translate his books in Bengali. And then Maharaj is translated, I don't know, not sure, the many books he translated in Bengali. And within 1 year, he took first initiation and the sannyas, which is some Prabhupada disciple objection is very fast. Prabhupada said, don't worry. So Maharaj's kirtan is so sweet. Everybody like it. Very merciful, humble. And Maharaj's drama is Abhaycharan. It's very, very good. It's very popular in India and everywhere. Ujjain Temple just built in 10 months. Very fast. And 2 years back, I watched on Maharaj Vyasa Puja. Maharaj Vyasa Puja not only just visited ISKCON there, ISKCON devotees, Hindu and other, even Sikh and Muslim too. So some Muslim groups, they came and Maharaj said, can somebody take care of the Muslim brothers, Muslim bhais here, give them space. So, and they speak about on Vyasa Puja. Even yesterday, the Vyasa Puja too on Ujjain, in Ujjain, I heard that, and there was some education minister and some of Ujjain, there is some great personality was attending, they told they attending many years, they coming to see Maharaj. So some of they saying, Maharaj even not even talk, just only sing the Maharaj, person get purified. So Maharaj is so powerful, just only take a darshan and the devotees get purified. And association, Maharaj is available for everyone, any times, doesn't matter the who and older or young or kids, everybody. Maharaj is very, very accessible. And there is I think there is a Food for Life program. Maharaj is, I don't know, like a I think maybe 25,000 or some kids. They're feeding every day they're feeding there. So Ujjain Maharaj said in one, I was listening lecture yesterday, Maharaj is one called the Harinam Kon hai. It was in Hindi. And Maharaj said, that's the only Harinam can shave, nothing else. Then he mentioned the Hare Nam Ev Kevalam, Kalo Naste Gati Ranetha. So Maharaj said, 3 times Naste, Nahi. Only Harinam can save. So Maharaj is, he said, they go to Nagar Sankirtan every Saturday. So Maharaj said, whenever I come here, I try to go with you in Harinam. So Maharaj went to Harinam there, and then Maharaj said, if 100 devotees go there, 500 will join. And we going to make a Ujjain Vaikuntha here. So one time, the one of them, a devotee, he bring the horse wagon for Maharaj in the Harinam. He said, Maharaj, you sit on the wagon. Maharaj said, no, I'm going to walk with everybody. Harinam is not like I sit on the wagon and everybody walking. So Maharaj is so humble. He tried to give the association to everyone. It doesn't matter. And Maharaj was GBC too. GBC is not a very small thing. It's a lot of problem in GBC. So many temples, they have to solve the problems. But other so many issues and everything, but still Maharaj is happy and always very humble to everyone, and traveling around the world. And one is Maharaj have a very big project in Florida, which is still going on, and that's why Maharaj came here a year ago. So I just say, Maharaj, today is very auspicious day. On your appearance day, please bless me. I have a association with the devotee always. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj Swami ki. Hey.
Thank you, Prabhu. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bodily Srimati Bhakti Charu Swami iti namine Snigdha Chaitavasa Pranita Vangminam Chirasapatam Prabhupada Gata Prananvami Bhakti Charu Padam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bodily Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deva Gaurvani Prachara Nirvasesha Nivadi Bhashati Adhistarani. Hare Krishna. Today I want to make an offering for my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. You know, we had a very, very short period of interactions with him, and even those are every moment is like a nectarian. And I've been meditating on, what he has done for the movement and how he dealt with each one of these situations. I feel like, if we have a family business and after the father has left the business, the son is taking over, how a son would take that ownership and drive that business. It's exactly like that he dealt with it. He would take any issues, if there is an issue in the business, you would go and solve it the same way as a son would solve it. That's how I feel like, every situation, even at Seattle, he came here, he understood the mood of the devotees, and he dealt it in a way that it is pleasing for everyone, not, in any biased way. Or even when a difficult situation came in New York, he roared like a lion. He did not back out, even though such a big problem was there. He was able to stand there and solve such a massive problem in New York. So those things
can be solved only when you have that real love for your father. And you take that ownership, saying, okay, I'm doing it for my father. And I'm just praying to him that we all will be able to operate in that same mode, how he was able to operate for the service of Srila Prabhupada. In everything he did, he showed that kind of a mood. And my prayers is that we all cooperatively operate in that mood. And, we all have our own challenges in every aspect. But if we keep Prabhupada in the center always, and if we keep the Supreme Lord Krishna in the center, and if we come in that mode that I'm here only to serve Prabhupada and I'm here to serve the Lord, then I think we can all put our challenges behind and be able to operate cooperatively and please Prabhupada. And the only way we can finish our business in this material world is by pleasing Prabhupada. That we all understand. So when we understand that, if we all operate in that mood, I think what Prabhupada has promised is, if you stay in ISKCON, no matter what, I'll take care of you. That's the promise Prabhupada is giving. So if we all have to cooperatively work and please Prabhupada. And fortunately we have His Holiness Harilas Maharaj is here for us to guide and be that leader and give us the guidance. So if we follow under his leadership, and serve in the mood of cooperation, I'm sure we will be able to all please Prabhupada and achieve the success. With that, I want to thank, and I also want to ask for forgiveness in case if I have myself, my kids, or my wife, on all of our behalf, I beg you, if we have made any offended in any way, please forgive us. And also I have one more request. If you ever find our behavior has caused anything made you upset, please kindly come to and talk to us. I will not, or myself or my wife, we will not be defending our behavior. We will accept that as a mercy, and we will ask for forgiveness, and we will try to not repeat that same mistake. So kindly, that's the big favor we were requesting all of you, so that we can serve you all nicely. And that's how we can please our Guru Maharaj, and we can please Srila Prabhupada. If they are pleased, the Lord will be pleased. So we want to make sure we please the devotees all the time, without any exception. We don't want to displease any of the devotees at any situation. We want to please all of them. That is our desire, sincere desire. So please, we beg you, if we have made any mistakes or anything, or in the future also, unknowingly if we do it, please come and tell us. We will change. Okay? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So last 1 month, we have been doing in Seattle congregation, sending every single day Abhay Charan. Abhay Charan is a series, if you don't know. This was produced and directed by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj. and we have been posting it every day, and we are also sending a quiz. Every episode is 30 minutes. There was 45 episodes. It is actually the story of Srila Prabhupada. So how Abhay Charan came into existence was Guru Maharaj was doing, when Prabhupada asked to translate all his books in Bengali, Maharaj spent almost 10 to 15 years doing that translation. Once that is done, he was thinking, what should I do next? And when he was looking at maybe top 50 people, famous people in the world, he came across, he was just looking for Prabhupada's name, but he couldn't find Prabhupada's name in that. He was like, how could Prabhupada be not in that list? I want to make Prabhupada famous. So that was his thing, and then he was thinking to do a movie about Prabhupada, and someone suggested, you can't fit in the life of Prabhupada in a 2-hour movie. It is better it is in a TV serial, like kind of episodes. And he spent almost 10 years. That's not a short time. I mean, even to do a very small project, we all struggle. I mean, even in temple or in your office, whatever you want to do, there is so much struggle to do these mini small projects. But to do these episodes, he would have gone through so much, and that is his almost 10 years of meditation. So we all watched it. I think almost we are in the 30-40 episode right now. So there is so many kids here who were enthusiastically participating. Not only kids, the adults as well. I mean, I was getting so many messages from so many families that it has become our favorite pastime. Every day we sit down as a family and watch this episode and take the quiz as well. So I was so inspired. And to just say thanks for all of those who watched Prabhupada episode. I think we'll start with kids. So we have ordered a gift from Ujjain Temple. So this is an USB. This has 45 episodes of the Abhay Charan. So we'll call one by one, and you can come and get the gifts. I would like Maharaj to give the gifts. So I think we'll, so the first one we have here, Ayush Sharma. And Charan. And Samarth. I'm supposed to have a list. Actually, it is not loading, so I have all the. I can see the kids' name and call them out. Arnav. Sorry, Anay. 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 And this is one for family. I think I've seen like 4 people in the family have taken it. But being conservative, we are giving one per family. Pranav. Rishi. This is for you, your mom, and for your sister. And your dad. And Murali. Shaurya. Shaurya, you want to say something? What you watched? Yeah. Oh, you didn't do it. Okay, I saw your name. Oh, that's okay. You didn't watch, but now you watch. Okay? Okay. So from Mataji's side, we have Sunidhi and Shivani. Tulsi. Sananda. Prashangi. So, did we miss any kids here? What's your name? I forget your name. Rishikesh, come. And Tulsi Priya is here. Oh, okay. So Manjari Priya can get for your sister, right? Do you want to get for your sister? I'm not sure if I missed somebody. So there is so many Matajis who took, but they are not here. There is consistently, there was we will actually contact them and distribute it later. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. And we invite His Holiness Harilas Maharaj to give a class.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Desatarni. Hare Krishna. So tonight we are going to talk about Bhakti Charu Maharaj, a dear friend and very special devotee, of course, who had tremendous amount of association with Srila Prabhupada. And I'd like to give a few vignettes or little pictures of his relationship with Prabhupada. The name International Society for Krishna Consciousness was thought about by Srila Prabhupada, and there's a special verse called Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriya Tam Yad Kuto Pi Labhyate Tatra Lolam Apimulam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukritayar Nalabhyate. And this verse says, pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. It can be attained only by paying one price, that is, intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. So, that first line, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati, is very important. This Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita means absorbed in the mellows or sweetness of executing devotional service to Krishna. So this was one inspiration of Srila Prabhupada for the name International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And in a second way, Srila Prabhupada also told Bhakti Charu Maharaj, or Swami, in 1977, that the term Krishna consciousness was derived from a book by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura called Krishna Bhavanamrita, the nectarian mellows of Krishna consciousness, or Bhavana, which describes Radha and Krishna's pastimes throughout the 8 portions of the day. So we see how there are several names or several places that inspired Prabhupada. And by understanding this, these original sources for the name International Society for Krishna Consciousness, then we can understand what is Krishna consciousness. When a person actually becomes Krishna conscious, then they begin to savor and experience the transcendental nectarian mellows of Krishna and his transcendental beautiful form and activities and pastimes and associates and so forth. It's full of nectarine emotions, which is called Rasika Bhava. That's when we actually become Krishna conscious. Right now we're in the early stages of Krishna consciousness, all of us. We're following rules and regulations, a sadhana bhakti. This is extremely important. It's important so that we become regulated in our habits and very clean physically and clean mentally. So in order to become clean mentally, it's highly recommended to chant Hare Krishna, the Mahamantra. And as we begin to relish or savor Krishna and his transcendental pastimes and Krishna's devotees, genuine devotees like Bhakti Charu Maharaj, we develop this greed, this, as it said, Tattva Lolam Api Mulam Ekalam. This basically means that we become extremely greedy and we want to obtain more and more of this nectar as the primary goal of our life. And we cannot actually live without it. It's so tasty, so nectarine, so fragrant, that our life is like a gigantic abyss without it. Therefore, we become more and more enthusiastic to hear and chant and preach, especially Krishna consciousness. So whenever you see a dedicated preacher, like Bhakti Charu Maharaj, a world preacher, a what you call Parivrajikacharya, then you can understand that behind that activity of preaching is a huge ocean of nectar that he has imbibed by associating with Prabhupada and with devotees, and especially by hearing every day more and more nectarine pastimes of the Lord and learning day by day newer and newer things about the Lord's infinite transcendental glories. And Krishna says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena tetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati partana chintayan. And he says, he who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Arjuna, is sure to reach me. Well, this is the description of Srila Prabhupada, and I dare say also of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. This constant meditation on the Lord and the mind constantly being engaged in remembering the Lord's pastimes, the Lord's words, the Lord's relationships, undeviated from the path. That means 24 hours a day, not having any other interest in life. Such a person is sure to reach me, Krishna says. So Prabhupada writes, this is not a very difficult process. However, one must learn it from an experienced person. Tadviganartam sagurum ivabhikachet. One must be educated in this process of devotional service by a genuine guru. Genuine guru is someone who has no other interest other than to please Krishna by all his thoughts and actions and desires, etc. Prabhupada says, one must approach a person who is already in the practice. The mind is always flying to this and to that, but one must practice concentrating the mind always on the form of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, or on the sound of his name. So he's equating chanting Hare Krishna with actually having darshan of the deity of Krishna. This Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is non-different than Krishna. Not only Krishna, because Krishna is never alone, there's also Radharani, and there's also all Krishna's expansions, Lord Ramachandra and so forth, and there's Krishna's devotees, and there's Krishna Kirtan, Krishna Prasadam, there's Krishna Mahotsav, and so forth. It's a whole package of Krishna, 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 hey. Right? So Prabhupada continues, he says, the mind is naturally restless, going hither and thither, but it can rest in the sound vibration of Krishna. One must thus meditate on Paramam Purusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual kingdom, the spiritual sky, and thus attain him. The ways and the means for ultimate realization, ultimate attainment are stated in the Bhagavad-Gita, and the doors of this knowledge are open for everyone. No one is barred. All classes of men can approach Lord Krishna by thinking of him, for hearing and thinking of him are possible for everyone. So this is what has attracted so many people when they imbibe this let's say, culture from Prabhupada, this culture of all-inclusiveness. No one is barred from becoming Krishna consciousness. No one has to pass a litmus test or a color test or an ethnic test or a racial test or any test. Everyone is welcome, the intelligent and the non-intelligent, the highly productive people and even the lazy people. Everyone is welcome to be benefited by associating with a pure devotee, and of course the pure devotee Srila Prabhupada and his sincere servants like Bhakti Charu Maharaj. One must meditate on Paramam Purusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual kingdom, the spiritual sky, and thus attain him. The ways and means for ultimate realization, ultimate attainment are stated in the Bhagavad-Gita, and the doors of ultimate realization and the doors of this knowledge are open for everyone. No one is barred. All classes of men can approach Lord Krishna by thinking of him, for hearing and thinking of him are possible for everyone. The Lord further says, Bhagavad-Gita 9th chapter 32 and verses 32 and 33, Mam hi partha vyapasritya yepisyu papayonaha striya vaisas tata sudras tepiyanti param gatim kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajas sayas tata anityam asukam lokam imam prapya rajasvamam. These are two very beautiful verses in the Bhagavad-Gita. And the Lord says in these two verses that he speaks to Arjuna, that even a merchant, a baniya, a businessman, a fallen woman, that would mean women who are like prostitutes, women who are very broken down and out in life due to bad habits, etc., or a laborer, meaning a common worker, or even human beings in the lowest status of life can attain the Supreme. One does not need highly developed intelligence. The point is that anyone who accepts the principle of Bhakti Yoga and accepts the Supreme Lord as the summum bonum of life, as the highest target, the ultimate goal, can approach the Lord in the spiritual sky. So, what is he saying here? He's saying even the least intelligent person, if they simply accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam to their full satisfaction and agree to follow the simple rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness without any qualifications, they can go back to Godhead. If they simply do these things. And all these things are pleasing. Taking prasadam, bathing regularly, taking rest early, waking up early, being always clean, and being able to dance and chant every day, right? Can you dance and chant in Microsoft every day? Can you dance and chant in Amazon factory every day? No. You can just work like a dog. But in Krishna consciousness, even the least intelligent person or the poorest person can come, and immediately they will eat very nice prasadam 3 times a day. They'll have clean clothes. They'll have a clean place to sleep. They'll be hearing uplifting things all the time, like Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. They'll be having darshan of the deities, and they will be, in other words, living like in the palace of a king. The temple is the palace of a king. Just like today, some people who came and said, "Do you people do marriages?" I said, "Yes." "Is it in this temple or in some other room?" I said, "No, it's in this temple." "Oh, good. We want to have a marriage here." Because this looks like the palace of a king. And it is. The king of the whole universe, the king of all the universes, Lord Krishna, with his eternal associate, Radharani. So, if one adopts the principles enunciated in Bhagavad-Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a permanent solution to all the problems of life. This is the sum and substance of the entire Bhagavad-Gita. This is in introduction, page 15 of the Bhagavad-Gita. He says, he can make his life, he or she can make their life perfect and make a permanent solution to all the problems of life. This is the sum and substance of the entire Bhagavad-Gita. Now, some people have realized this, like Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Therefore, he gave up everything else he was doing and dedicated his life to this. Because this is the best thing a person can do in their life. Not only it helps them, but they can help millions of other people. So what other work is as beneficial as this? It doesn't compare to getting a job in Tesla or getting a job in Amazon or anything like that. That's like working in hell. But the life of Bhakti Charu Maharaj was transcendental. And everyone can do this if you have faith on 2 points simply. That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and if you chant Hare Krishna sincerely every day, you go back to Godhead. Those 2 points, that's all you have to accept. So, in conclusion, Bhagavad-Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Gita Shastram idam punyam ya patet. Prayata pumam. If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad-Gita, one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life. Do you actually want to be happy? Or do you want to suffer the rest of your life? You see. Most people are suffering today because they don't know what's going to happen in the future. And they're doubtful about it. And they get scared, and they have panic attacks, and they take drugs like Xanax and other drugs like that to calm themselves down, to calm their nerves down. They can't even sleep. They're so nervous. Right? Bhaya sukha divarjita. One will be freed from all fears in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. This is from the Gita Mahatmya, written by or it was authored by Sankaracharya himself. He wrote a glorification of the Bhagavad-Gita. Gita Shastram idam punyam. One who, with a regulated mind, recites with devotion this Bhagavad-Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue, will attain to a holy abode such as Vaikuntha, the residence of Lord Vishnu, which is always free from the mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation. So, what is bothering people today? Anxiety. They're faced with problems every day. You know, there are problems due to this body. I just cut my finger, right? And then I get a backache. And then I injure my leg. And then I get a cough. And then this, and then that. And every day there's some new pain in the body. And there's something going wrong with the body, some problem with the eyes, some problem with the ears. And I remember one of my daughters, there was a serious problem with her bones. Some of the bones, one of the bones started growing out of proportion. And we had to get an operation to fix that, otherwise she would be crippled the rest of her life. You see, all the time there's something going wrong with the body. Then there's something going wrong with outside people. Other people are causing problems, just like there can be divorce, there can be economic problems, there can be cheating, there can be theft, there can be violence, there can be accidents. All kinds of things are happening, being caused by other people. And also, the problems of this body are not only the body itself, but also the mind. The mind can give you many problems. Prabhupada explains, if you don't follow the regulative principles, then the mind will play tricks on you. That's a direct statement by Prabhupada. What are those tricks? You'll be attracted to sense gratification. You'll be attracted to, oh, I can make a lot of money if I do this or that, and I won't have time to chant my rounds, but that's all right, I have to make that money. So the mind will play tricks on us if we don't follow the regulative principles. So therefore, Prabhupada says, one who, with a regulated mind, recites with devotion this Bhagavad-Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue, will attain to a holy abode such as Vaikuntha, the residence of Lord Vishnu, which is always free from the mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation. Then Prabhupada says in the introduction of Bhagavad-Gita, page 15, Bhagavad-Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. Did you know that? This one book here has all knowledge in it. You don't have to read many books. You just have to read this one book called Bhagavad-Gita as it is, Yatarup. And Prabhupada says the Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. This is in the introduction of Bhagavad-Gita, page 15. The most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. In other words, all the knowledge you kids are learning in elementary school and middle school and high school and college, it's basically junk. It's misleading you. But the knowledge in this book leads you to Vaikuntha, and very quickly. There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in Bhagavad-Gita. In the beginning, Arjuna decided that he should not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. This was his own decision. Arjuna told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman. This decision was based on the body, because he was thinking that the body was himself, and that his bodily relations or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brothers-in-law, grandfathers, and so on. Therefore, he wanted to satisfy his bodily demands. Bhagavad-Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view. And at the end, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Karishya vachanam tava. Now I shall act according to your word, O Krishna. This is exactly what happened to Bhakti Charu Maharaj. He went to some university in Germany, and he clearly said he dropped out. He didn't finish his studies. He was dissatisfied with them because he realized that it wasn't leading him to any type of real satisfaction or happiness in life. And he dropped out. Now, usually a college dropout is considered a failure. But by the way, Albert Einstein was a college failure. Bill Gates was a college failure. In fact, most of the college failures are big CEOs today in the United States, you see. So Bhakti Charu Maharaj was a college failure. He left after maybe not even completing 1 year. And he realized that he needed something different than this mundane education. He didn't know what it was. He had a hint that it would be something spiritual. And that was explained by Ranti Dev. He came back to India, and he went here, and he went there, and somehow or other, he found the devotees. And through the devotees, he found Prabhupada. And through Prabhupada, he found Krishna. Then he realized, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. Now, was he a failure? Do any of you think you could achieve as much as he has achieved in his life? If you go to college and get your degree and work the rest of your time like an ass to make some guy rich like Bezos or Gates or Ellison or any of these greedy, low-class people, do you think you're going to become successful by doing that? Do you think you could ever be as successful as Bhakti Charu Maharaj? Well, the answer is yes, if you follow his example. And it's no, if you don't follow his example. Because money does not make you successful. It makes you entangled. Because when you don't have money, you're meditating on how to make money. And when you have money, you're meditating on how to protect it. So both ways, you're worried. Okay, now there's a lot of people here that have money. Is what I said true or not true? Yeah, you're worried both ways. So that means whether you have money or you don't have money, you're going to be worried. But if you have Krishna consciousness, what did Prabhupada say? Bhagavad-Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view. And at the end, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Karisya vachanam tava, now I shall act according to your word. Sarvaguya tamam bhuya, shinu me paramam vacha, isto si me dridam iti, tato vakshami te hitam. Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. And Prabhupada writes, the Lord has given Arjuna knowledge that is confidential, knowledge of Brahman, of the supreme absolute truth. And still more confidential knowledge of the supersoul within everyone's heart. And now he's giving the most confidential part of knowledge, just surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sharanam, surrender. Either we surrender to Maya or we surrender to Krishna. Those are the only two decisions we have in life. You don't have any other decision. Maya comes in the form of Bezos and Gates and all these people and movie stars and baseball heroes and football heroes. Those are all agents of Maya. They're trying to convince you that sense gratification and money to get sense gratification is the goal of life. Every one of those people, the politicians, the sports heroes, the movie heroes, the philosophers, all these people, they're trying to convince you that by sense gratification and money, you will be successful. And it's false. There's not one iota of truth in that culture of sense gratification and money. There's no truth in it. It's all illusory. And basically, you waste your time doing those things. Did Bhakti Charu Maharaj have a business? He did? What was his business? What? No, that's not. Krishna is not a business. It's not a business. Business is you make an investment, right? You make some money, and you make an investment, and you get some product made in China or somewhere, and you import it to the United States, and you buy it for $1, and you try and sell it for $4, right? That's a business, right? And then it goes from there. But this Bhakti Charu was not a businessman. What was he? He was a preacher of Krishna consciousness. That's what he was. He was always preaching. What does Gopal Krishna Maharaj do? He's always preaching. What do any of them do? They're always preaching. See? And that's not a business. Okay. So, what is the real thing we should do in life? That's the question we have to ask. Because Arjuna, who was so educated, he was in illusion about what the purpose of life is. It's only when he surrendered to Krishna that he actually learned what the purpose of life was. And the same with Bhakti Charu Maharaj. When he surrendered to Prabhupada, then he learned, from his parents, he learned that go to college in Germany and become a chemist. He was studying chemistry. And he drops out in the first year. So everyone said, oh my God, my son dropped out of college. What would you do if your son dropped out of college for him? Huh? Would you commit suicide or jump off the Golden Gate Bridge or something? I know he's going to college, but I'm saying, what would you look at Bhakti Charu Maharaj's father, right? He said his father was not so interested in spirituality. He said his grandfather was a devotee. His father was not a devotee. And he was not interested, right? And his father sends him to college, and the first year he falls out, he leaves college and starts traveling around India like a hippie, which is what he was doing. He was a hippie at that time, right? But is he a failure? Was Radhanath Swami a failure? He was a hippie. He had long hair like this, and he was must have been smoking marijuana or something in the early days, and he started going all over the world, and he ends up in India. Was he a failure? What is his main activity? Preaching. Preaching Krishna consciousness. What was Prabhupada's main activity? Preaching Krishna consciousness. He comes to America with $0. $7, which you can spend in the first 10 minutes in America. Right? And look what he did. Simply by preaching. He did not do business. His devotees wanted to do business. He kept stopping him. He said, no, our business is book distribution. And at one point, we started giving out the books for free. Right? Even today, we still give books out for free. Right? So, therefore, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord. So, it says here that at the end of the 9th chapter, Krishna says, Manmana, just always think of me. Manmana bhakta mad bhakto, madhyajiman namaskuru. The same instruction is repeated here to stress the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad-Gita. This essence is not understood by a common man. Yeah, I'm sure Bhakti Charu's father did not understand why he dropped out of college, why he started traveling around India, going up to Badrinath and coming down eventually to Mayapur, and they're meeting these crazy American Hare Krishnas, right, who people thought were crazy. And then eventually meeting Prabhupada. And all of a sudden, he's a sannyasi. and he's has personal association with Prabhupada almost every day. And he's translating Bhagavad-Gita into Bengali, in which he has to talk to Prabhupada almost daily, who's overseeing every word of the Bengali translation, right? Is he a failure? No, I would say he's the greatest success. What more success can you have than the personal association of a pure devotee every day and be personally instructed by him and have important service that's essential? Right? So therefore, this essence is not understood by a common man, but by one who was actually very dear to Krishna, a pure devotee of Krishna. This is the most important instruction in all Vedic literature. What Krishna is saying in this connection is the most essential part of knowledge, and it should be carried out not only by Arjuna, but by all living entities. This is Bhagavad-Gita, 18th chapter, 64th verse in the purport. And what is he talking about? Because you are my very dear friend, Arjuna, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, Bhagavad-Gita, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. So, you only have to read this one book, Bhagavad-Gita. No one, Prabhupada says, can be pleased substantially without being engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad-Gita, this fact is clearly mentioned. After liberation, which is the last item in the line of performing religiosity, in other words, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the last thing is moksha, right? One is engaged after liberation in devotional service. In other words, you don't actually begin devotional service until you're liberated from the modes of material nature. That's what should happen at the moment of initiation and should continue the rest of your life in devotional service. And how do you know if you're liberated from the modes of material nature? Well, we're going to explain it right now. After liberation, which is the last item in the line of performing religiosity, etc., one is engaged in pure devotional service. This is called the stage of self-realization, or the Brahma Bhuta stage. After attainment of this Brahma Bhuta stage, one is satisfied. Brahma Bhuta prasanatma na sochiti na kansati. There's no more lamentation, there's no more hankering or material desires. One is satisfied. But satisfaction is the beginning of transcendental bliss. One should progress by attaining neutrality and equality. This is a big thing you hear today, you know, equity. Black people have to be hired before white people. This is being taught in all the companies. Is this true or not? Is it being taught in Microsoft? Yes? Have you been set behind a black guy because you're white and he's black? Huh? Has it happened?
He is not considered as a white.
You're not considered as white? No. Okay, you're lucky. But you're not considered black either. What are you considered? Brown? Brown, okay. Okay, well, you're like chocolate milk. Yeah, equity. Yeah, equity, they abbreviate it to equity. Equity means social equity. The black people have to be hired before white people. But here is neutrality and equality. What does this mean? This comes after liberation, after Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. So what is neutrality, first of all? It means that you don't get angry no matter what happens, except if someone insults Krishna or attacks Krishna or Guru. Then you have a right, like Hanuman, to get angry. But everything else, someone insults you, this thing, that thing, you don't get angry because you understand nothing can happen without the will of the Lord. So therefore, There must be some reason why this is happening. Therefore, you remain patient and you double down on your service. You improve your chanting, your hearing, and you become more serious about following all the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. Because it could not happen unless Krishna permitted it. And therefore, there must be some plan behind it. So that's neutrality. And what is equality? You understand that all living entities have an eternal relationship with Krishna. Whether they're white, black, brown, purple, green, yellow, whatever color they are. Because the color is only skin deep, which is not even an eighth of an inch. The rest looks all the same, blood and gore. But in the midst of all that blood and gore is your eternal soul and Krishna, is Paramatma. So that's what that's called equality. You see Krishna in the heart of every living entity. Therefore, you don't see the body exactly. You see the person's connection to Krishna. Then you can be a preacher. You don't say, oh, I'm going to preach to this guy, he's a white guy. I'm not going to preach to that guy with a hoodie on, a black guy. You know, no. Just like when I went to Oakland. Oakland is the place where the Black Panthers started. This was a black organization that revolted against America. And that's where it started. And I used to go there and feed people. And one time, this black guy came up to me, he said, excuse me, he said, we don't see your kind around here very much. What are you doing here? I said, well, I'm offering free food. He said, but you don't belong in this neighborhood. I said, you're right, I don't live here, but I like distributing food here. Would you like some food? He said, what you got in that food? I said, it's all vegetarian. He said, I like to eat meat. I said, yeah, but this will make you happy and healthy. He said, okay, let me try it. So he tried the prashadam. He says, it's okay. It's not bad. It's got a little spice to it. I said, yeah. I said, by the way, let me tell you something. He said, what's that? I said, you know my God is black? He said, what? I said, my God, the God that I worship, he's black. He said, is that right? I said, yeah. I said, you want to see his picture? He said, yeah, man, show me that. I showed him a picture of Krishna. He said, damn, that man's blacker than me. I said, yeah. And his wife is white. He said, let me see her picture. So I asked the girl standing next to him. I said, oh, man, she is white. I said, I like your religion, man. Yeah, we include everybody in Krishna consciousness. We're not prejudiced. Right? So, after liberation, which is the last item in the line of performing mundane religious activity, which is called Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, one is engaged in pure devotional service. This is called the stage of self-realization, or the Brahmabhuta stage. After attaining this Brahmabhuta stage, one is satisfied. But satisfaction is the beginning of transcendental bliss. One should progress by attaining neutrality and equality in the relative world. And passing this stage of equanimity, one is fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. This is the instruction of the Personality of Godhead in Bhagavad-Gita. This is exactly what happened to Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And because this happened to him, he became one of the most successful devotees in Krishna conscious movement. The conclusion is that in order to maintain the status quo of the Brahmabhuta stage, as also to increase the degree of transcendental realization, Narada recommended to Vyasa that he, Vyasa, should now eagerly and repeatedly describe the path of devotional service. This would cure him from gross despondency. So we see that even Vyasadeva made the mistake of overemphasizing Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and not emphasizing Krishna Bhakti. So he had to write the Srimad Bhagavatam because his guru pointed out why he was feeling despondent. Why did Bhakti Charu Maharaj drop out of college in the first year? He wasn't satisfied with himself and where he was going. And he knew there was something else in life. And therefore, he started looking for it. When you start looking for that thing that you think you're missing and you're not quite sure what it is, but you're basically praying to the universe or to God, show me what I should be doing, who I actually am, and what should be my real activity in life. Then Krishna sends Guru to you at that point, when you actually have that desire. And this is what Bhakti Charu Maharaj said. He said, I was looking, I couldn't find God. Then I realized God has to find me. Is that right? Huh? No, he couldn't find Guru. Therefore, he said, he has to find me. And Prabhupada did find him through his devotees, who took him to Prabhupada, and he became who he is. And he's with Prabhupada right now, no doubt about it, preaching somewhere. Right? So, for want of sufficient knowledge in the absolute science, we are now covered with illusion, and therefore we think that we are separate from Krishna. Although we are separated parts of Krishna, we are nevertheless not different from him. The bodily difference of the living entities is Maya. In other words, black body, yellow body, white body, this body, that's all Maya. The person is not the body. The person is the soul. And the soul has an eternal relationship with Krishna, and the soul cannot be killed. It's not born, and it can never die. So the bodily difference of the living entities is Maya, or not actual fact. We are all meant to satisfy Krishna. By Maya alone, Arjuna thought that the temporary bodily relationship with his kinsman was more important than his eternal relationship with Krishna. The whole teaching of the Gita is targeted toward this end, that a living being, as Krishna's eternal servitor, cannot be separated from Krishna, and his sense of being an identity apart from Krishna is called Maya. Okay. So, the living entities as separate parts and parcels of the Supreme have a purpose to fulfill. Having forgotten that purpose since time immemorial, they're situated in different bodies, as men, animals, demigods, etc. Such bodily differences arise from forgetfulness of the transcendental service of the Lord. Now, I pray tonight that I don't, and I hope you don't, become fooled by modern education and start identifying with the body. This is called there's a word for this. In other words, it's called tribalism. Have you heard this term, tribalism? Yes? Yeah, exactly. This tribalism means you identify with your class of people, or your ethnic group, or your social group, or your economic group, or some group, and you all think the same way, and you vote the same way, and so forth, right? Such bodily differences arise from forgetfulness of the transcendental service of the Lord. But when one is engaged in transcendental service through Krishna consciousness, one becomes at once liberated from this illusion. One can acquire such pure knowledge only from the bona fide spiritual master, and thereby avoid the delusion that the living entity is equal to Krishna. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm just going to make one other point. That is, liberation means to be situated in one's constitutional position as the eternal servitor of Krishna, Krishna consciousness. This is the conclusion Bhakti Charu Maharaj came to. And there's a description of what that means in detail. It's the thing that I think Ram Mukund also touched on, and the point I want to touch on now and end with it, is that Bhakti Charu Maharaj was an example of daya. Daya is a Sanskrit word, and it's a quality of Krishna, one of the transcendental qualities of Krishna. And daya means intolerance of others' unhappiness. this was a defining quality of Bhakti Charu Maharaj also. He was intolerant of other persons' unhappiness, and he always stuck his neck out to try and help those people, regardless of the odds, regardless of the people that were going to be against it. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, intolerance of another's unhappiness. Okay. This quality of intolerance of another's unhappiness can be subdivided into 1, protection of the surrendered souls, and 2, well wishes for the devotees. This was Bhakti Charu Maharaj's special quality. He was intolerant of other people's unhappiness, and what did he do? He tried to protect them. And number 2, he was the well-wisher of all devotees. Okay. So I'll stop right there. I was going to say a lot more, but we'll stop. It's going to get late. There's a very interesting subject to understand what his defining qualities were. And if we can understand this, it should be an example for us in our own life. We should be intolerant of other people's unhappiness. We should try and protect them. And we should try and help them by well-wishing them, by being kind and gentle and not severely judgmental, but very, very tolerant, as Prabhupada was, and help people. In fact, Bhakti Charu Maharaj wrote a very interesting short 1-page number of quotes of Srila Prabhupada explaining how to help people who fall down from Krishna consciousness. It's very instructive. And you can see that Prabhupada was actually an example of Daya. That he was intolerant of others' unhappiness. He protected surrendered souls, and he was a well-wisher of all devotees. And so was Bhakti Charu Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Bhakti Charu Maharaj Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Now don't be afraid, parents. I'm not telling your kids to drop out of college. But I am saying that if you're not cultivating Krishna consciousness, you're definitely going to be frustrated in this life. I'm telling you right now, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how many tests you pass, no matter how many degrees you get, no matter how much money you make, I guarantee you, you will be frustrated if you don't have Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Gevalava. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. বন্দময়ী সাবধান মতে বন্দময়ী সাবধান মতে যাহার প্রসাদে বাই হে ভগত প্রিয়া যাহার প্রসাদে ভাই হে ভগত প্রিয়া কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তি হয় যাহা হইতে কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তি হয় যাহা হইতে গুরুর মুখ পদ্ম বাক্য চিতে করিয়া গুরুর মুখ পদ্ম বাক্য চিতে করিয়া আয়রণ করিও মনে আশা আয়রণ করিও মনে আশা শ্রী গুরু চরণে রতি এসে তমাগতি শ্রী গুরু চরণে রতি এসে তমাগতি যে প্রসাদে পুরে সর্ব আশা যে প্রসাদে পুরে সর্ব আশা चक्षुदान दिल जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिल जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञानी जे प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान जे प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जाते अविद्या विनाश जाते प्रेम भक्ति जाते अविद्या विनाश जाते বেদে গায় যার চরিত্র বেদে গায় যার চরিত্র শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু আদাম জনর বন শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু আদাম জনর বন লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন আহা প্রভু কর দয়া দেহ মরে পদ ছায়া আহা প্রভু কর দয়া দেহ মরে পদ ছায়া এবে জানব চটি ভুবন প্রভুপাদ পতিত পাবন জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় প্রভুপাদ जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्यानंद नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj,
Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravajakachasta Tarasatanushi Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Charu Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Pranam Sri Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Vaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Gogovinath Samakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sri Mayapura Dham Ki Jai Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premananda His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to Shikuru and Shikuranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Patita Pavana Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Dasita. Okay. Pushpanjali Ki Jai. Om Aganyati Mirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shapitam Yena Bhutali Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Pachakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Anvitam Shak Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Madhur Ujvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhakti Da Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudapa Apasiddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padambu Jayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchitananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravir Baba Bhumestvam Nirdesta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhumashri Jagannathayate Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Guru Tuse Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Saktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Suratur Pangur Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarva Swapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyadvindaranya Kalpajumadaha Shimad Ratnagara Simhasanastito Shimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prastali Bihi Sevyamano Smarami Shiman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivata Tatastitaha Karsan Venuswanir Gopir Gopinatak Striyestuna Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Charu Swami Iti Namine Snigdha Chetaha Supraneta Vangminam Cha Rasapratum Prabhupada Gata Pranami Itina Pranami Pranamine Hare Krishna. Oh, Esa Puspanjali Swaha.
Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Charu Swami Iti Namine Snigdha Chetaha Supraneta Vangminam Cha Rasaplatum Prabhupada Gata Prana Nuvami Bhakti Charu Padam Desha Pushpanjali Swaha.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Charu Swami Iti Namine Snigdha Chetaha Supraneta Vangminam Cha Rasapratum Prabhupada Gata Prana Prabhupada Patakrana Nuvami Bhakti Charu Padam Esha Pushpanjali Swaha.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Tomorrow is also a special day, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's appearance day. Tomorrow, and we'll start at 10 o'clock. We'll have some bhajans by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and we'll have Pushpanjali and a lot of fun. And a feast, yes. No program is a success without a feast. And just for your information, Bhakti Charu is a very special name. Bhakti, of course, means bhakti, devotion. Charu means beautiful. And his name means Bhakti Charu, beautiful because of his pure devotion for the Lord. It's a nice name, isn't it? Bhakti Charu. You can name your next kid Bhakti Charu. I hope your wife didn't hear that. Yes. Anyway, we want to thank everyone for coming tonight.